Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and today we're going to be answering your questions that you sent in regarding politics. As you know, I like to get right down to business, and that's what we're going to do today. The first question is from Buffy2222, and Buffy, you win an award for asking the question that I least like. Well, I mean, honestly, it has nothing to do with you, Buffy. This is a question we all have. And there are some real burrs under my saddle, under my psychic saddle, that I just can't seem to get right or to get clarity on or whatever it is. One of them is McConnell, right? Mitch McConnell. You know, he's very hard to predict. I've talked to you guys a lot about why he's hard to predict because he doesn't follow the energy. And the other one is Dejoy. Yes, we're going to ask about Dejoy. Why is Dejoy still with the United States Post Office? Well, maybe I should get the upgraded version of Spirit Guides. You know, like maybe I got the starter pack and maybe I got those upgrading notices and I just didn't do it. And I thought, why would I want to do that? This is working pretty good. Why wouldn't I want to upgrade to a better version? You know, like your, any of those warranties. You buy the warranty, like I just got an upgraded notice from my washer dryer. Why would I want to upgrade? It's working fine. Okay, so here we go. I will say this. The Spirit Guides did say this like a month ago. And I do find it humorous that you guys argue with me because I argue with them. So I don't know why you're arguing with me when I'm arguing with them. We're all arguing with each other. But anyway, I said to you guys, DeJoy was going to do something else. I said this a month ago. The Spirit Guide said, DeJoy is busy behind the scenes doing his little thing that he does, which is basically hamstring, pull the motherboard out, otherwise take apart the voting machines, take apart the process, anything he can to stick the proverbial stick right in the spokes of your bicycle, which is just riding perfectly fine. And then you fall down. And I said this, and here it's already been discovered. The guides are telling me this. So, hey, you can Google it just as easily as I can. He's already been called out for slowing down the mail, for causing problems right before an election, right before a primary, no less. And as we go into the election, the Spirit Guides have told me he's going to do the same thing. Now, you guys are kind of arguing with me in the chat saying, oh, he would be found out and he could never get away with it. Honey, he did, and he did. He did do it, and he did get found out about it, and he did get away with it. So check, check, check. You are correct, and so are the Spirit Guides. Now, so I should say, like when I'm channeling this, I just go on to the next thing, and I realize later that I leave you guys hanging sometimes. I don't finish. It's not me. I'm trying to keep up with them. It's like a spiritual teleprompter, and I'm trying to just read whatever they're telling me. He is what they're saying right now is he is going to have an impact on the vote. I mean, that is just it. I'm sorry to tell you that. 1-800 Spirit Guides, press 1 for complaints. I'm just the messenger. He is going to have an impact. The voting will have an impact. Now, they're showing me certain states. I don't say this to tell you not to vote, and I don't say this to make you upset. I'm answering the question, guys. Number one. Number two, it's not going to have, I'm trying to make the best of a bad situation, and they're over here telling me, oh yeah, it's going to have an effect. I'm like, could you just play along with me for a minute? Could they just play along? Here we are, probably like 2 minutes into this video, and I'm already having a whole with them. Okay. Let's be clear and concise in our message, shall we? It is going to have an effect on voting. The effect is going to be indeterminable because no one is in the USPS. There's no way to quantify. There's no police. There's no sheriff to quantify the effect of this slowdown, breakdown, mechanical breakdown, whatever. They're suggesting me that he could be cutting back hours on the post office contractor workers who maybe aren't under union contract. They're saying there are many levers he can use to do whatever. And in their meaning the Republicans, because let's just face it, let's just call it what it is. Who he's working for allegedly is not the federal government, in as much as it's being run by democracy, but meaning that he was working for the federal government when it was being run by Russia. So anyway, I hope this makes sense. I swear to God, this has gotten off to really a just smashing start. Okay. It is what it is. We will go to the polls. We will win. We will surmount this obstacle. We will win. When it's all said and done, this information is going to come out. I think in the end, Dejoy could really face an investigation. I see a congressional investigation. Now, we all know now that congressional investigations have no teeth and just like a complete kangaroo court. But he is being side-eyed by Jack Smith. Like, Jack Smith is like, oh, my belly's full. I got all the good cases I want. I'm feeling really sated and like sitting in my recliner, like, whoo, I feel good. And then he's like, well, that's a good morsel over there. Maybe I could fit in some extra dessert. I don't know. Let me think about it. So Jack Smith is kind of like, oh, that looks good. That looks juicy. I might be able to go over there and see what that's like. So if you're watching Dejoy, cease and desist, retire, move to Austria. Okay, please, for all of us. Okay. So yeah, you heard it there. I've not ever said that. I've never said that Jack Smith was looking at him, but what I'm hearing now is the cases, the evidence. The evidence is just surmounting and surmounting. It's just getting bigger. It's the same thing with Judge Eileen Cannon. Jack Smith just lets the evidence mount, just stack it up on his desk. And when he can't see over the top of it anymore, he's like, well, I guess it's time to go to court, right? So that's what he's doing with Dejoy. Now, why is Dejoy still there is really, when I ask them, they're saying because he's not removable. I don't even know if that's a word, but we cannot remove him. There are some Democrat, there's a board, some kind of board that says go or stay or you're out or you're in, and we don't have the votes on the board. Now, that's probably another question in and of itself, because as you can imagine that it's being held up. Some of the members are being held up like new appointees. It feels like there's members that are supposed to come in that Biden has appointed, but they haven't been installed. It's being held up by some obfuscation, they're saying. I don't know what is going on, but it's a game, y'all. This whole thing is a game. Yes, I do believe that Jack Smith is playing 5D chess, and I do believe for the most part the Republicans are playing checkers or dominoes, something completely different. But they make their plays, and their plays, are born of decades of this kind of subterfuge, of this kind of learning how to work the gears, pull the levers. They know how to obfuscate. They know how to really get in there and muck it up, because that's been their focus. They've brought this is what they're telling me. They brought these young, bright minds, young, bright legal scholars, constitutional scholars, and got them into the Federalist Society, where they're like a factory. Like, their goal is to do nothing but pick apart the Constitution and our laws and our amendments to figure out where they may find a loophole. This is what Barr has done. This is what Bannon has done. They're quite smart people, actually, and they use our own little traditions. We have all these things that we thought were laws. Turns out they're traditions, right? They use that against us. If it's not a law, well, then they're going to use that against us. They're going to throw their nose up at it. For instance, MTG showing up at the State of the Union wearing campaign-oriented clothing is against the rules. Why wasn't she removed? There was a guy there who was screaming, and he was removed. Why isn't she removed? So again, it's as if the Republicans are showing us, you know, they've always wanted there to be two sets of laws from the beginning of the inception of our country. Sadly, a set of laws for white men and a set of laws for white women and a set of laws for everybody else, right? And it's as if today, 2024, they're saying, we still believe in that. And MTG doesn't have to follow the same laws as that other person who is, breaking the same rule. Different rule, but a rule that we've all agreed to abide by. And the guides are showing me, remember when they had to go through the metal detectors and the Republicans walked around the metal detector? Okay, so what is the lesson here, you guys? The lesson is we don't have to follow these rules, but the Democrats continue to follow the rules. So how is anything ever going to be sorted out if there's two sets of rules? Same thing with Dejoy. Is he going to be held accountable or not? This is where we are. So what I feel like is going to happen is that the Democrats finally, and again, this is the theme. The theme is the cliffhanger. The theme is we're going to the edge. And then at the last minute, kind of some kind of common sense prevails, right? Here we are. I do believe the Democrats are going to grow a pair, find their ovaries. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe you can buy them on Amazon. I don't know. Maybe Temu is where you get them now. But whatever it is, they're going to get them. They're going to install them. And then they're going to stand up and say, no, DeJoy, we think you're breaking the law. We're going to haul you before Congress. We're going to use whatever congressional investigative powers we have to start this ball going. Then I see ProPublica or other investigative journalists. Ooh, it's juicy. I'm telling you, DeJoy is juicy. DeJoy is the juicy. Because everybody, it's like now all of a sudden this man has crossed some line of whatever it is. Culpability is what the guides are saying. It's crossed the line of culpability. And now everybody's going to be investigating him. It's almost like Thomas. Here's another person who has two sets of laws. I can do it. No one else can do it, right? I can accept all these lavish gifts. I'm talking about, of course, Justice Thomas. I can do it, but nobody else can. This is the lesson. It dovetails with the lesson of the bully, right? This is the lesson we're here to learn. Once again, I would just suggest you look around your own private life and see where this lesson is also manifesting, because I promise you, if it's manifesting writ large on the world stage and on the United States stage, it's for sure operating somewhere in your personal sphere. Maybe not 100% of you, but the guides are saying 80% of you are having people in your life that says, yeah, I don't have to do this. Like when your kid says, I don't have to come home, on time because you didn't come home from work on time, or whatever crazy reasoning, gaslighting, narcissist type reasoning. So I think DeJoy is going to be on the out by December. Now, you guys, I have not once gotten DeJoy right. I have predicted that he's going to be gone. He's still there. Again, he's like McConnell. So why does that make sense? Well, if you were being investigated, you would say, holy mackerel, let me lawyer up. Let me get out of this position so that I can better prepare myself out of the public eye. Why do we think like 23 Republicans are retiring or stepping down and not running? Because they don't want to be attached, guilty by association, or just guilty because they're guilty. But DeJoy, McConnell, they don't care. They're like, I don't care. I believe in my status that I can get out of anything. I believe in my status that I can, and this is Trump's belief. Trump has always gotten out of everything, right? So he believes that he's too big to fail. He's too big to jail. Well, guess what, folks? The energy has changed. And there's a new sheriff in town. And this is really going to equalize these types of people. So there's going to be way more equalization going forward. Is everybody going to go to jail that should go to jail? Probably not. Will we be let down? Most definitely. But the majority of them will go to jail. And it's like we have to just assume the glass is half full instead of that glass is half empty. So hopefully that helps you, Buffy. I don't know what I just said. I have no idea, but I think it makes sense sort of in some big. The only person they didn't talk about was Putin. I think they talked about everybody. Okay, so let's move on. GOR24 go. Will Trump, right to the point. That's what I like about you. Will Trump suffer a fatal health event before the election? I mean, immediately I think of like a Big Mac getting stuck in the throat, like maybe there were some fries, maybe like one of those top secret papers, like I could see him wetting it, putting it in the Big Mac with some ketchup and like eating it that way. Because I think he tried to eat it without all those other things and it didn't work. But really, I see the heart. I've always seen the heart for him. I've always seen electrical, which for me means stroke. Some doctors, or maybe they play doctors on Twitter, I don't know, are saying his face is asymmetrical lately. It's you can see it. It's barely there, but you could see it. If you cock your head to the side, kind of like anyway, or maybe it's wishful thinking. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like, and other readers, more importantly, a lot of people out there that I respect, we all see Trump disappearing, whether he's in the rubber room or whether he's, kicking up daisies next to his ex-wife or burial at sea. I'm not sure what is going to happen to that man, but he's gone. Now, it's not gone in the sense that he's absconded, which is the word sometimes they use. He's not running away, fleeing. That's not successful, even if he tries it. It's that he's out of commission. So what they're showing me, because this is the crazy world we live in, apparently. So if he ran away to, or they're saying not run, he would say, I'm visiting. Prolonged visit to Qatar, which doesn't have, whatever to get him back here. So he's visiting there. He would literally run for president from Qatar. Okay, so that I don't see that happening. Repeat after me. If you just cut the video off and you just heard he's going to run for president from Qatar, you're going to be quite surprised. I don't see that happening. But if he did, he would. I'm trying to help you understand the energy. He's not in a separate place, disappeared, because if he was, he would be active. He would be either spouting off his mouth or running. You would know where he was. He would never be anywhere quiet unless he's in this rubber room, Gitmo situation, or he's crossed over. I don't know how Spirit is going to solve this problem, or for me, it's solving a problem. For them, it's not solving a problem. For them, it's the outcome. They're unemotional. The outcome is this, that there is no Republican leader on the ballot. It's a write-in situation and it's chaos. And this is what I've always seen. And other people have seen it too. So for you, the viewer, what I would do is find, a handful of people that you like and you can stomach listening to. And if we all concur on something, then you can sleep at night. When we're all disagreeing on the same thing, then that means the energy is not settled, right? But if we're all sort of getting similar things, then to me, that's trustworthy. So that's what I would say. Let me move on to user gobbledygook, because I'm not reading all the alphabet that's after your name. Once Dumpty is out of commission, how long will MAGA cult last? Will the Republican Party continue to be controlled by MAGAs? This is a great question because honestly, it's not about Dumpty anymore. It's not about him. He's gone. Really and truly, E. Jean Carroll has taken him out. even if he gets the money, he's still been identified as not having money because he had to go begging for money to everybody, including the judge, to give him a less fine or more time to pay it. So he's already been mortally wounded in his ego, which is what's the most important thing. So how long will the MAGA cult last? What I see happening is, so there's sort of there's a separation of the MAGAs, is what I'm saying. So some MAGAs are going to sort of swing closer to right of center. Okay, so they're probably not going to be liberals, okay, but they're going to swing right of center, within range of center, okay? Then there's going to be the core group of MAGAs, which are going to be absorbed into the new cult, which is that 2025 project or whatever that thing is. There's several new, it was QAnon. Before Trump, it was QAnon. Then it became MAGA. Now it's going to become 2025 or all the different cults that are competing to win the mantle of the cult. There's 3 or 4 of them going on at once. And those things are psyops, psychological operations. They are funded and operated by other countries that, feed the narrative to these people. And the difference is that it used to be that you would have to introduce someone face to face to get them into your cult, like the Moonies. They would have to meet you and then work with you or whatever cult you want to do. But now it's insidious. It's not only is it just easily picked up from your screen, whatever screen you're using, but it's 24/7. It's 24/7. And what I've learned about this is that you break people out of the cult, and they're just showing me you could also call a cult a gang, right? So if a person gets involved in a gang and that becomes their family or the mafia, there's lots of cults, okay? But how you break them out of it is you have to get them to talk about times before they were in the cult or in the gang or in the mafia or whatever it was. So you would talk to them about childhood things. Remember when we used to go swimming at that lake? You would just you have to take them back to before. It's like reinstalling the original software, okay? But because this is insidious and it's just broadcasting 24/7, this is a much harder thing for us to deal with. The spirit guides have often told you that they're using our own freedom against us. It's true, right? So we have freedom of speech. Well, it's very difficult for our media to understand what is a cult message and what isn't. Now the media is just so convoluted. The media doesn't even know which way is up anymore. They've had their own head fake, their own deep fake. They're totally obfuscated. They just do not know what is right side up. There was a time when journalism was a very respected, and I'm not saying it's, yeah, I guess I am. I am saying it. I'm sorry to all you journalists out there, but it's really about the money. It's really about and you know it. I'm sorry. I'm looking at you and I'm telling you, this is true. They tell you what to write. They tell you the timbre to write it in. And this has been around for a long time. The guides are taking me back to Vietnam, to photos. I was a photographer. For a brief minute, I was a photojournalist. And, your editor wants to see a certain thing. You give them 5 pictures. Your job, your goal is to make it on the front page and above the fold. So your goal and your job is to make it on the front page of that website or to be picked up by AP. And if your editor has a narrative that they feel will get more clicks, they're going to use that. That's the narrative they're going with. That's the photo they're going with. That's the story they're going with. And I'm going to break it to you guys. I can put a title up that says something positive, and I can do the same video and put a title up that is something negative, and you guys are going to click on the negative. I promise you, I've seen it. I've proven it to myself. So if I was in this for the money, I would be doing it for the clicks. So our media is a big problem, okay? And we're going to have to get on that, because that's where we're going to have to address these cults. And we are going to do this. Believe me, 25, 26, you're going to see guardrails pop up around, well, we're going to have to really have a real conversation about the amendments, because 2A is muskets, is the right to bear arms. Well, they were using muskets, and anybody who wants to go out and get a musket, I'm happy for that. But I don't think it pertains to this type of war weapon. So we need a conversation about our amendments. We need a conversation about free speech, right? We're going to have to go back. And as a country, as a very divided, contentious country, we're going to have to go back, and somebody's going to have to say, you know, and the guides are saying, just like when we decided you couldn't drink and drive, just when we decided not only could you not drink and drive, but now there's a level of alcohol in your system that we're going to say is illegal. Just like we said, you got to wear a seatbelt. So again, the guides have said this for a long time. We're going to start changing things at the federal level, because the states are literally just, well, for one thing, they've lost their GD minds, right? They've gone crazy, and their decisions are not in the highest and best good of their citizens. That's when the federal government comes in and says, okay, we all need to wear seatbelts. We all need to do these things. So that's what's going to happen. MAGA cult is going to go into a new cult. Some MAGAs might go into, I've always said this, go into like processing centers, like deprogramming centers that will be funded by the government. I've always seen this since Trump was first elected. That probably will be in 26, they're saying, 25, 26, because people are going to want out. They're going to realize that they're going to be broken. They're going to realize they've been had, they've been taken, and they're just going to fall off. They're just going to, their whole identity is going to get shattered, and they're going to need someone to put them back together. And that might be therapist. It might be actual, it's like an addiction. So it might be an actual center. So 25, 26, will the Republican Party continue to be controlled by MAGAs? They're going to destroy it. That's what's happening right now. And this, I have a video out called The End of the Republican Party. I did it 7 months ago. They're going to destroy it. And then it will not be controlled by the MAGAs, because I see a lot of these Freedom Caucus MAGAs getting indicted, some of them convicted, some of them doing jail time. But that's going to take a couple of years to do all of that. But in the meantime, they're going to get voted out, because really, after the whole country, meaning a lot of Republicans, a lot of independents, and all the Democrats put Biden back in office, and the Democrats back in office, there will be this sense of putting things back in order, of understanding we need to put things back in order, the law and order time. And then I think it could take 2 cycles for the Republicans to get back to their real power, to even be a contender. So there could be some independents winning in 26, but mainly I don't see the Republicans coming back into 28. And even then, it's going to be a whole different brand. And they really do. The Republicans consider this a brand, right? Their ideology is about winning and tax cuts. That's all there is to it. So they'll rebrand themselves. And I see this with Liz Cheney. I've warned you guys about Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney. They are very right-wing. Follow them on their socials. Make your own decision. But do not fall for this. I'm a patriot. I hate Trump. Therefore, I'm normal, because they voted with Trump. They just didn't vote enough. They didn't vote 100%. They voted 90%. Okay. Adam Kinzinger has some crazy, crazy viewpoints that he proudly espouses. So just look into these people, but they're going to rebrand themselves and come back. and they're going to try to fool Democrats into thinking that it's time to be moderate. It's time to vote Republican because we are this new party. They may even change their name. So this is 28, what I see. And a healer within says, will any senators ever come under fire for intentionally concealing information received during Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing regarding sexual assault? That's a fascinating question. You know, I usually copy all these questions and put them in Word document. And I'm telling you, I'm so pressed for time. I'm reading them right off of YouTube. I'm just taking whatever comes my way. That is a fascinating question. Will any senators ever come under fire for intentionally concealing information received during Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing regarding sexual assault? The senators come under intentionally. I will say this, more information is coming out about Kavanaugh. There are people who feel more free to talk about that justice and his prior behavior. And this, again, this is what the guide said 3 years ago, and it's so true. All of this is public information, and it's all in books. Hasn't everybody written a book? Seriously, like things went in books that should have been evidence at a trial, and instead, because our justice system was broken, may continue to be broken in some ways, this information got out through the public. This is what I see with Kavanaugh. I see a new book coming out. They're calling it a tell-all book. There's photographs. There's really photographs of him. Maybe not salacious. That's the word I heard. I don't know what they mean by that. I'm not saying he's naked or he's doing something illegal, but I'm saying the photographs shed, or you see him in a new light. And in that new light, you can take a short jump to the allegations and accusations in this book. Now, the question is, will the accusations in the book, which I think is coming out, if I hear 2026 one more time, just for the love of God, it cannot take, well, okay, all right, fine. So what they said was, we're going to be so busy prosecuting all kinds of people that Kavanaugh can wait. Okay, so 2026 may seem like to you a decade away, but you're going to be seeing so many people prosecuted, investigated, indicted, and prosecuted that you're not going to even think about Kavanaugh. You're going to be watching all these other people. So it seems like this book could come out in 25, which is next year. It seems like that could spur some investigations in 26. However, again, energy is energy. People have free will, and reading timelines is incredibly difficult, really, really difficult, especially for these people, because in the past, they would step down out of embarrassment and shame. Not anymore. They wear embarrassment and shame like, race car drivers wear, patches, you know what I mean, on their shirt. Like they're happy. They're happy to flaunt the laws, what I just heard. Okay, I'm going to move on. Will the senators, I don't see senators coming under fire for that. I think the senators that could be culpable for that information will be brought down before Kavanaugh, because if you're going to do that for Kavanaugh, you've done it for other people. You've taken perhaps bribes, or you've taken perhaps dark money, or you've done things, flaunt the law. You flaunted the law. And now Jack Smith is going to be looking at you like you're a Krispy Kreme donut, just like he's looking at Dejoy. He's going to be putting on some weight. I love it. Okay, let's move on to another really topic that just lights my blood pressure up. Firefly says, please ask your spirit guides about what will happen to Flynn, and will it happen anytime soon? I'm a military veteran, and seeing this traitor run around and collect a military pension makes me vomit. I agree, Firefly. Thank you for your service. The spirit guides immediately showed me Dr. Ronnie Jackson. Is that his name? The White House doctor. And now we have that literal picture of all the drugs like ketamine. I mean, drugs that are pretty big time drugs that were just dispensed at the White House during the Trump years, like candy. They're calling him Candyman. Did you guys hear that he got busted down? That he lost rank. They took his rank away. And the wonderful people on social media are hounding him and saying it's illegal to advertise your rank, to wrongfully advertise your rank. So he is not on his social media or social media, reduced his rank. So now they're saying this is illegal. Again, go back to the beginning of the video where we seem to have two sets of laws for people, right? Are we going to hold this doctor accountable and say, you better clear this up, sir, or we're going to bust your rank even further? Now, the spirit guides brought that to me because we're talking about Flynn and we're talking about somebody breaking the law, or in the very least besmirching, is what the spirit guides want to say, their military, the honor of their military service is what the guides would say verbatim. So Flynn makes me upset because he is really running around the country, and he makes no bones about it. This stuff is very public. Again, back to the fact that it's all out there for the public to see. Maybe Trump has broken us and we just can't get upset about things anymore. Maybe we're broken because when we did get upset about things, nothing happened. There was no justice, so now our level of we demand justice is way off the charts instead of where it should be. Well, so what is going to happen to Flynn? They're telling me he's going to go down. Flynn is really dangerous. I'm not kidding you guys. He has a whole plan that he gives away for free about how to take over America. I'm not kidding you. He is not a patriot. He's not even truly a citizen of the United States, much less should he be getting a military, okay, they just talking to me, military pension. They just said to me that the powers that be believe, the Pentagon, believe that we need to get Biden in. Once we get Biden in this November, they're gonna take this man to task. They're going to investigate him. They're going to bust him. They're going to take away his rank, and they're probably going to indict him, is what I just heard. Now, indict is not convict, right? Indict is we want to take you to court because we think you've broken some laws. So his days are numbered, is what they just said. Now, I'm sure you know, Firefly, that his brother, who was on the phone call, he was one of the people on one of those phone calls, is in charge of the Pacific Fleet, or the Pacific Theater, excuse me. And that is wrong. That is wrong. So these people are traitors, in my opinion, and they need to be held accountable. And I think they will be. But it's a matter of, it's the same thing about Kavanaugh. Like, why can't it happen now? Well, because there's so many people ahead of them. And this is 5D chess. They're playing, the other team moves, we get to move. We don't just get to throw all the pieces off the board and do whatever we want. This is not Putin's playland or Donald Trump or Orban's playland. This is a democracy. We have to follow the laws to the degree that we have to follow them. So that's why. I'm going to move on. Thank you for your question and for your service. Joplin Baby says, GOP Representative Derek Van Orden of Wisconsin is the person who shouted liar during Biden's speech. Will Katrina Shankland be able to oust him in November? Okay, so apparently Katrina Shankland is running against Derek Van Orden of Wisconsin. I know you Wisconsinites. I get messages from you guys. Y'all are freaking out in that state because you're not used to it like me in Texas. Like, I'm used to the insanity. You guys, this insanity is kind of new. Will Katrina win? Right now, yes. The answer is yes. This dude, what is his name? Derek Van Orden. He's got hidden things that are about to be visible skeletons in his closet. Things are coming out into the open. Again, it has to break a law. It can be shameful. It can be embarrassing. Maybe that's enough for Wisconsin. It's not enough in the South. And in the South, apparently you can do anything and they don't care. But maybe in Wisconsin, you guys have a different level. You haven't been, broken down by this red state terror that we have down here. He's going down. I feel like he's going down. He's being investigated. There's big problem. He has big problems. So I'm not even going to tell you what all I saw. Let me just say that he's got big problems coming his way. For one thing, if nobody knows about it, I don't want to give it up. And for another thing, I don't need to be getting up in nobody's business and having problems on myself. So the question is, yes, I think Katrina is going to win. And honestly, as I look at her energy, she's quite good. She's quite the fighter. She's feisty. She's got feisty energy and truth-seeking energy. And she appears to be the woman who doesn't hold back. Like, she tells it like it is. You know what I mean? She speaks power to truth is what they're saying. So that's good. Good news. Okay. Corinne says, when will crooked DeSantis be exposed and removed as governor in Florida? I have always seen him, again, that timing is impossible, but I've always seen him the same two visions that I always have of him. One, he's walking and he gets tripped. I think that's what happened to his presidential nomination. He's got like long stride. I don't know if he has long legs, but he has a long stride. And somebody sticks their foot out or whatever and trips him and he falls down. I think that's probably what happened with the presidential nomination. And then the other thing that I see is that somebody straps him to a post in the swamp and it's literally like a full moon, because I can see things, but not really. It's definitely nighttime, but it's not like completely pitch dark. And he's wrapped around this post that's in the swamp. Like a boat dock post, but there's no boat dock. There's no land that I can see. It's very swampy. And he's terrified. He's absolutely terrified. His eyes are as big as saucers. Of course, there's alligators, there's snakes, there's things in the swamp that are not friendly to big, juicy men. So I think what this means is he's dead to rights. He's being restricted, constricted. I've also often seen his wife causing his downfall. I've seen his wife having problems with money and washing machines, if you could put those two things together, or the misuse potentially of campaign funds, or something about, I just heard volunteer, like donations, but volunteer money. This is, we just don't, there's too many crooks. There's only one Jack Smith. There's too many crooks. So, and Florida doesn't have a Fonnie Willis or a Tish James to take these people down. However, they just showed me the person taking Matt Gaetz down. So at some point, the Democrats are going to stand up. They're going to win more seats. They're going to have more power. And at some point, the Republicans are going to cut their losses. They're going to have to cut their losses if they want to rebuild this party by 28. They don't know how to get shed of Donald Trump themselves because of the compromat. We've talked about this a lot, right? It doesn't matter if Lindsey Graham allegedly wears a dress. Do not care. Again, shame, embarrassment don't matter to these people. What matters is criminal. Going to jail matters. So the compromat, or the dirt that these countries that these people are beholden to, is such that it would land them in jail. So you see these people swinging on board with Trump. You've seen it. Come on, there's a book called Compromat. Again, all of this is public. It's all out in the public knowledge. But we have too much evidence, and we don't have enough ways to prosecute them, sadly. So again, they're doing things nobody ever thought anybody would do. We're not set up for this. They figured out where the holes in our Constitution were, where the holes in our laws were, where the holes in our amendments are. And then they driving those huge Trump rally semi-trucks through them, unabated, because we never saw it coming. We're not prepared. We're not prepared. However, we're catching up. And I feel like DeSantis is going to be, I've always seen DeSantis stepping down early. I do not see him finishing his governorship. People I respect say the same thing. Other psychics say the same thing. It's just a matter of waiting. And they just showed me the mouse. Never underestimate Disney. To have a long memory, like an elephant. They will not forget. And when the time is right, they'll slide the evidence under the door of Jack Smith and leave. You know what I mean? There will be no Mickey Mouse fingerprints on this, but you better believe they had something to do with it, because he is a big threat to them. And that cannot stand, because they're not leaving Florida for nothing. They outlast presidents. They outlast senators. They have the staying power. Is this a dark time maybe for them, or a hard time? Yeah. But they'll come out on top. So he's not going to be long. It's not like he's going to be there. I think he has, I don't know, he's got years left. I don't see him lasting. The guys just said not more than 18 months. Again, I would like to say that that's untenable. I would like to lodge a complaint with the universe about that on your behalf and mine too. But it is what it is. Now, does that mean that, so I need to say this, because in all of the possibilities that could affect DeSantis, you can't leave out the biggest one, which sadly is not justice. It's sadly his benefactors. And the guys have always said this to you. When Trump is not useful, he goes bye-bye. Maybe he falls down the stairs. Maybe he slips on an onion that fell out of his Big Mac. I don't know. I'm just saying. Things happen. You fall out a window. Oops. Okay. The other thing that impacts DeSantis is his handlers. I'm just saying. You fill in the blanks. So he could go anytime that is necessary, for any reason that is necessary. Okay? Because he don't have the protection of Biden. He don't have them German Shepherds. I already told y'all about them German Shepherds. Why do you think Biden's got a German Shepherd that bites the Secret Service? Why do you think that is? You know, plus Biden is divinely protected. Thank God. At least there's some bright spot here somewhere. Okay, let's keep on moving on. A couple of more. Oh, thank you. Adele says, I give you hope. That's good. I feel like I just gave you a bunch of really crappy news, but I'm glad to hear that. Faye821 says, anything on these two MAGAs, Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan? Matt Gaetz is going down. Yes, it was a travesty of justice that he didn't go down with his buddy who's in prison, who had exactly the same evidence against him that Matt Gaetz does. I saw that guy's attorney on a video say, my client has the same evidence against him as Matt Gaetz does. Why is my client in prison and Matt Gaetz still serving, on the House floor? What is this about? I saw a video with the attorney say that. And the guides told you then, it's not over. They're going to come back and investigate him. And that's what's happening now. It is over for Matt Gaetz. I don't care who his daddy is. I don't care. It's over for Matt Gaetz. Again, if you're not noticing a theme here, I'll point it out to you, of unequal justice. Here it is again, unequal justice. Matt Gaetz's friend, who was the tax assessor or something, the guy he partied with, the guy that had all the same evidence against him, unequal justice. We're going to fix it. This is the time to fix it. Law and order. We're going into the law and order. 2024, 2025 is going to be the law and order period of time in the United States. that's good and bad, but it is what it is. We got to do something. And then Jim Jordan, yes, I hate to go into his energy. I truly, truly hate to go into his energy. I'm trying to do it from far away, but I can't. So this is one of those times when you want to find like somebody who's dumber than you to go do that. Or when you tell the kid, go into Mrs. Jones' yard and get this thing because I lost it, and then the kid gets shot by BBs and you don't. Anyway, I did not do that. I am not that kind of person. I just need somebody to do this for me is all. Okay, y'all. Okay, Jim Jordan's wife is doing something. She's involved in something. She's it's clandestine. The word they're saying is clandestine, behind the curtain, behind prying eyes. Something is happening. A handoff. A handoff. She's involved. Much like Jenny Thomas with Clarence Thomas, allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. It seems like, and the problem is, so I guess these people are feeling the heat because so it's fascinating, isn't it? How I said, I want to get somebody to go do this for me, right? I just said it. I want somebody to go into his energy for me. Y'all, that's what he just did with his wife. He's like, a little too hot for me. Honey, will you go do this for me? Dang. That's what happened. She's doing things for him, and she's not as smart as he is. I don't want to say he's smart. She's not as wily. She's not as clever. She doesn't understand the rules of engagement. So she's going to make a mistake. She's going to talk to the wrong person. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to tip anything off if I know something that I shouldn't be knowing, because that often happens. But anyway, let's just say this man is going to face I see him being peppered at a press conference with a flat light, like cameras flashing, reporters asking questions. There's a crush of people. Are the accusations true? What do you have to say for yourself? Yeah, he is under scrutiny, but also under attack. And what I see happening as we go into 24, because why the guides want to use this metaphor, I do not have any idea. This is what they're telling me, so I'm going to share it with you. So it's like if you got a splinter. Thank God this is better than what they were talking about before. When you get a splinter and it gets deep and you just like, well, forget that. I'm not going to be digging a hole in my hand. And then it works its way out. Your body expels it. Your body says, foreign object detected. It expels it. This is what's going to happen with the Republican Party. They're finally going to be able to say, foreign object detected. That's funny how they said that, isn't it? And they're just going to spit him out like they did Madison Cawthorn. They spit him out overnight. They were like, oh, you going to tell everybody about our cocaine fueled orgies? You going to be telling people about our secrets? Oh no, you got to go. All of a sudden we saw pictures of him, damning pictures of him. And that's what the Republicans used to get rid of him. They used the dirt against him that they already had, because everybody got dirt on everybody over there. And they expelled. So I feel like Jim Jordan is expelled. Matt Gaetz is expelled. They're already doing it, right? The guys just told me they're already investigating Matt Gaetz in the House, but he's being investigated in Florida. So they're going to have to start expelling, spitting out these people like MTG, Boebert, Jordan, basically the Freedom Caucus, because the Freedom Caucus is their pain point. They're going to lose the presidency, and then we're going to put the smack down on this propaganda on all these countries that are coming in and doing the psychological operations. We're going to stop that from happening. What's going to help that is Putin is going to cross over. That's going to stop that from happening. We're going to say, guess what? It's probably not a good idea for a presidential candidate to meet with a dictator like Viktor Orban, who basically took over his country, The same way Trump wanted to take over. The first thing he did was go after the courts, the media. He started jailing journalists. I mean, basically, Orban did everything that Trump tried to do, but failed. The same thing, I'm sorry, but Bibi Netanyahu did. The first thing he did was went after his own Supreme Court and took away their power. These are the strong men. These are the new, this is the new, the new thing. The new dictator is strong men. There's a book out called Strong Men. You want to read it? It's great. So this is what's happening. They're gonna expel. They're gonna expel all these people because they're gonna try to save the Republican Party. I don't know if they're gonna be successful in really saving it. I've done videos on this. I've told you guys. Liz Cheney is over there sharpening her nails, waiting. I see her walking through the annihilated Republican Party, like it's smoldering from the fire, and she's like kicking things, It's perfect. It's mine. I'll take it. She's just waiting for them to implode. Her and Kissinger, they're waiting, and to some degree, maybe a few others, but they're waiting for it to finally blow up, and then they'll take it back over. But some things have to happen. We have to get Russia out of it. We have to get these other countries out of that party. We have to get their influence out of that party. And then you'll see all these people disappear. And then you'll see Cheney try to take it over and lead it. And again, she's a formidable opponent. She is not who you think she is. She's not a Girl Scout. She's a Cheney, for the love of God. Okay, maybe one more question. I've probably been on for 2 hours. Who knows? And I will do part 2, because there's so many great questions here that we need to know about. So I'm just going to end up with a Texas question, which is because it's Cruz, Ted Cruz. We all want Cruz gone. He's an international threat, a national threat, and a state threat, and a disappointment. So Colin Allred won his primary. He is our candidate against Cruz. Now, when I read on Colin Allred months ago, and also other readers, he didn't look great against Cruz. I did vote for him because he was the horse that was in the lead. And I will say that right now his energy feels pretty good, but still anemic compared to Cruz's. I wish I could just lie to you, but I can't. Cruz has a lot of money. Now, what we need to do, if it's just a race of Colin Allred against Cruz, I think it's too close. It's too close for sanity anyway. But what we could use is for Ted Cruz to be investigated to his connection to Boebert, to his connection to Jan 6, to his connections to Trump, because there are connections there. They're tenuous. He did a pretty good job of hiding his tracks, but I do think that an investigative journalist, I feel like he's going to be drug into some kind of investigation. I'm not sure if this election was next year, he would be out. He would be out. But because it's this year and the public is still wrapping their head around everything, I know we have already been there, but the rest of the public is still coming to their senses about what just happened, what with the coup of Jan 6. They're just not going to be ready yet. But right now, I would say, I still give him a 65% chance of winning, which is better than nothing. I mean, it's not bad. So just keep your fingers crossed. If you got $5, send him $5, because he needs it. Because Cruz is going to have a big, big war machine. And, Cruz is his people are the kind of people that swift boat people, that create narratives that aren't true, that create deep fakes, all this stuff, the dirty tricks. They're going to use dirty tricks against Colin Allred, and I just don't think Colin Allred is that kind of snappy fighter. You know, he's a good guy. He's not a snappy fighter. So I'm not sure he's going to be able to handle the stress, the tension, and be able to show up and fight back. I just haven't, I don't see that in his energy. Hopefully somebody gets a hold of him and puts him through the ringer so that he can do this, because that's what he's going to need to do to win. So that's what I would say. With that, I'm going to end this. Thank you so much. If you watched to the end of this video, thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate you. You're in my heart. Thank you so much for all of your support. We're in this together. We're going to make it through this together. We're going to make it to the other side. Everything is going to be okay. We're going to have some hits, but we're going to make it through there. Okay. This is not a walk through the park. This is a roller coaster. Okay. We're going to have ups and downs. Just know that in the end, we're going to be okay. Don't worry about losing a battle. Worry about winning the war. Okay. So if we lose a battle here and there, so what? We're still on track. We still have justice on our side. We still have the light on our side. The light is going to win. Take really, really, really good care of yourselves, okay? We'll talk to you again. Part 2 is coming. Stay tuned. For entertainment purposes only.